Welcome back to the Heroes Global Championship for EU. The Playing Ducks are facing off against Team Liquid, and if you're just joining us, the Playing Ducks are up 1-0. Didn't think we'd be saying that today.
Yeah, and it's not only that they won the last game, it's how they won it. It was very impressive. Question is now, did they just wake the dragon, or are they really that dominant today?
I think in terms of history, Team Liquid, if they ever get woken up, it's pretty scary for the opposing team. So with that being known, Playing Ducks in game number 2 needs to play as decisive as they were in game number 1. Even if they're a little bit more laid back compared to game number 1, it needs to be decisive and clear cut across the board.
Yeah, I feel like right now, I really think get rid of that Medivh. That would not shock me if we see a ban on that, because the way that Sport really controlled these fights was absolutely impressive. Every ley line seal was on point. You always got the target he was looking for. Sometimes he wanted to isolate one target so they couldn't explode on it, just use the stage dive to just take it down. Or on the other hand, he just tried to isolate someone who dove in deep and tried to isolate the backline. And every single time he was there, he provided the vision, and he was incredibly annoying. He got even killed solo. Like, he soloed at some point Sylvanas at that bot lane. It was really impressive to see him on that hero, and the rest of the team followed up on the same level. Chris, every time there with a Calamity. And I mean, that combo in general, I mean, every time, just like Calamity in, hit the combo, Greymane says like, all right, I got this, jumps in. It was very cool to watch.
It's very interesting to watch Sport Billy. When he seems to be going off, the team in general just follows suit. They go off too. They just all play lights out. So yeah, I think I agree with you. One of the things that you need to do here is target Sport Billy and even get a couple kills on him. Even if you go out of your way to kill him, it seems to really bring down the morale of Playing Ducks.
I mean, it's exactly what we said going into the series. Sport Billy is one of the biggest playmakers that they have in the team. The rest is also playing on a high skill level, and they can follow up on it, but he's usually the one who makes the big play that allows them to go in the team fight. That's what we've seen in the first part of the season, and this is the one thing that Dignitas yesterday was able to shut down from the get-go. They targeted him directly, they made sure that he didn't have that impact, and all of a sudden the Playing Ducks were in trouble. So adding him to the team was a major step for the Ducks, and right now it works out for them. Team Liquid has to get behind just making sure that he doesn't get that impact anymore.
So if you're Team Liquid and you're given the choice here to take first pick or grab the battleground, what do you go for?
I would definitely go for the first pick still. So I would probably go with the first pick for them. They just need to make sure that when they are starting to draft that they have watch a little bit out for, okay, what is... I mean, he has two heroes where he really excels at. He's extremely good on the fall start with the setups that he has. The Mighty Gusts that he usually brings in are fantastic. The fly-ins are very good. His Medivh is also very strong. So I would watch out for those two heroes and would always keep in mind what kind of like combos can the opponent now draft around those two.
What I do like too is we got to see Nande play on Greymane. Normally he's been at Dahaka. They usually just kind of leave him in a lane to kind of just float around and just soak the experience what top laners do. Very Wubby-esque, if you will. Yep. But we saw a more aggressive Nande here. He was able to get into the fights. He got to do his own thing, but with the team, which felt pretty refreshing to see. I want to see more of that in different battlegrounds.
Yeah, and of course it was also again helped out by all of these portals, but he did a great job there. He was always a massive threat, and he always dove into the backline for these targets. Another factor that, of course, played into it is that we were talking about an Anubarak as the solo frontline. So that was a bit of an issue. Oftentimes we see more of a focus into double or maybe even triple melee. And if that happens, you have more tools at your disposal that you can use to just deal with a Greymane. In the setup that we had right now, you have only the Anubarak, and he kind of wants to dive in, especially when you're behind, you're looking for that engagement. Once he dives in, the backline is exposed, and that's what underutilized. So if Team Liquid goes into the more common combos that they play and maybe just use, again, at least two frontliners, I feel they have an easier time dealing with these situations.
That's a good point. That would have been a different game if we had maybe a variant in the mix instead. Let's figure out which battleground we're going to for game number 2. Playing Ducks will get to choose the battleground, so you are right. Team Liquid will be taking the first pick, and we are moving into Towers of Doom. This is actually a battleground that both teams excel on.
Yeah, it's another battleground where we have seen, I feel like this is one of the battlegrounds where, especially if you control globals very well, and if you control engagements, you have a big impact. And we have seen great performance here by the Playing Ducks in the past. And then again, Team Liquid, formerly Misfits, they are also excelling on this one. Especially when we're talking about the globals, I feel we're going to see a way different game because, as you already pointed out when we were heading into Battlefield of Eternity, globals over there don't have the same importance as they do on a big map like Towers of Doom or other maps that we usually see, so I think this is going to be a very different game now.
Yep, Falstad, Dahaka, all those rotations. Team Liquid, yes, on Friday was actually willing to take both Falstad and Dahaka in their second slot. Now this time, they are first pick, so they won't have the option available to them, but you know for sure Team Liquid is not going to allow the Playing Ducks to have both the globals.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Team Liquid is going to draft this right now, because I feel they are going to really think about banning out a Medivh at some point. But first of all, since it is the big map that we've been mentioning, the globals have the higher priority. But the second ban phase, that's something where we could see that actually happen, depending on what the Darks of course pick first. But in their mind, there has to be the thought process, what is Sport really going to do right now?
And I think this draft kind of puts it out there. Dahaka is more for the non-day player, so you get rid of Dahaka here. It's not something that Darkmonk really is going to be forced to play. He likes to enjoy it, but he's not going to pull it out all the time. And then you just grab the false set here on your pickup.
Exactly. You play the globals right now. You ban one of them out, and then you put your opponent in a position where now the playing Ducks have to think about, okay, what do we do?
Ban Tassadar, ban false set.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
one?
Like, do we ban one of the two? Is there another hero that stands out for us that we need to get rid of? But it's usually the global play that you go for. And they ban the Tassadar. So in this case, they're saying, like, yes, you can pick up the false set if you want it. We're banning out the Tassadar first. And instead of that, we have the Lucio picked up. This is one of the things that for me personally is always a bit weird. I think the thought process for Team Liquid is, because normally you would expect with the ban on the global as the first ban that they want to pick up the second global. But with this, it feels to me a bit like they were afraid that if they ban something else, they will end up going up against two globals. So that seems to be a bit of a thought process here. They wanted to get the Lucio, as it seems, and they ban out Dehaka because they want to make sure that the playing Ducks don't pick Dehaka false at first, which is something that we have seen from Team Liquid playing against other teams, and that combo usually wins out on a big map like this.
So it seems like Team Liquid wants to go back to their standard type of play, which is they get their Lucio, which is great how they play. They usually get a strong engaged warrior and then some kind of melee. They also can run double warrior if they would like, but most of the time it's a strong melee assassin for Darkmonk they can set up, and Lucio empowers that so well. Abathur Zeratul will be the pickup here for the playing Ducks. Okay, playing Ducks, I'm loving them today.
I already hate this comp. Okay, so there's a couple of things to talk about. I mean, Abathur, of course, usually on a map like this, he is trying to just push lanes quite a bit. He might run into an issue since Falset is still available, and there's a good chance that Team Liquid is saying, okay, against an Abathur, if we pick Falset and have a global, we put more pressure on Abathur on lanes. But the idea behind what Playing Ducks is currently doing is obviously at first to just like get ganks with Zeratul with an Abathur head. So that is incredibly dangerous. Normally you are yielding in the early game a little bit when you are playing with an Abathur because you're waiting for your copy, but you can try and set up these ganks. In the past we have seen that also complemented by a Brightwing, who then just like portals on the Zeratul, Abathur head jumps in, and all of a sudden you turn it into a 3-for-1 and you usually get a kill there. So we need to wait out what else they're going to pick. They're probably going to be going into a Greymane if they have an opportunity to do that, but that's a very... And yeah, that's why we have a Greymane pick.
Yeah,
now, so
you grab Arthas
taking that away.
You grab Arthas here because he can deal to Zeratul on a one-on-one scenario, even with an Abathur hat. You get the Greymane now, so you don't give him that synergy that is so strong. So as Kato was just mentioning, the late game for Abathur is usually very good, but his early game is so hard that you push into it. Zeratul is a great band-aid to that because you don't want to push with the Zeratul floating around the map and ranking, and then you also don't want to push when Zeratul could have an Abathur hat.
The thought process here is awesome. You see the Zeratul Abathur coming in and you immediately jump to, okay, what do they want to copy? Ideally, they would want to copy the Greymane. So what do? Do we ban him out? Do we let him through? No, we just pick him ourselves. Then again, what do you pick? They already have Lucio. So they're already looking at Arthas even before we're seeing the playing Ducks going into this. Because Lucio plus Arthas is just really good, since Lucio mitigates one of the biggest weaknesses of Arthas. His mobility, his engage, exactly. Like him oftentimes not being able to move out of the fight when the fight turns against you. Lucio helps you with this. So now Arthas also extremely strong against the Zeratul, because you can reveal him, you have some really good tools at your disposal. So Team Liquid here with a very thought out draft with a double pick that they have now against playing Ducks. So there's a lot of back and forth going on and a lot of mind games. I'm liking it.
I like the gold dam ban because there's two things that you need to start worrying about when you are wanting to play Abathur. One, wave clear, because you want to be able to have some value out of that split pushing of that Locust is available. And two, if you have a Void Prison combo, you don't want it to be interrupted. Goldan does both of those. He wave clears, so he can handle the pressure coming into different lanes by himself if he needs to. And he also drops a Horrify when a Void Prison comes out, which can ruin any type of wombo combo that potentially the playing Ducks might want to run. So the Goldan ban makes a lot of sense.
And at this point, we're having a Malfurion banned out. Malfurion is still one of the heroes that we have in the game that has the highest pick rate here. And you could have argued, of course, a lot of ban out the false stat, here's another global, ban out the Medivh, we've seen in the last game, try to target the tanks. But they're just saying, hey, we have Lucio already, we seen a ban on the Tacita. If we ban out the Malfurion right now, first of all, even if you go into a Medivh, we're not going to end up with a situation where you just portal into the backline and you hit a Twilight Dream and all of a sudden we are all silenced. We can play around the Medivh alone. It's just like these combos that we're not really comfortable with, even if it's questionable if they even would go for the Medivh here, but like these thought process, that's something that really has to be appreciated. So it's a very good ban on that part.
Playing Ducks going old school here. They're grabbing Tychus, which is one of the heroes that they ran off in the first few weeks. We haven't seen much in the last couple of days, but still a strong hero, especially if you get in those engages. And they take away the Tyrael. Tyrael naturally fits in with the Greymane, and it's a warrior that you can pull off with Zeratul, and you can also use the Sanctification to help deal with that Arthas pressure. So a solid lineup here for the Playing Ducks. They are a bit squishy for my taste, but still good.
It's an interesting setup for now. It's not really what I expected them to do here, to be quite frank. Especially with the priority that we saw in the past on Avala, I could have seen them going for her. Right now they have the Tychus and the Tyrael, so the Sanct is going to be also a point. The thing is, like, Zeratul is going to try and set up these Void Prisons in the backline again, and then how are they going to get their kills here?
What do you think, Theorycraft time? What would you like? Would you like the Jaina here, maybe, instead, for the third pick?
For the instead of the Tychus?
For the Playing Ducks, yeah.
Jaina together with the Zeratul would have been quite nice because you get that Wombo combo again. Maybe they was just fearing they don't have enough sustain damage and that they put everything in the burst basket and didn't want to do that. But yeah, the setup is interesting there. Medivh being picked up now by Team Liquid. That is dirty.
I like what Team Liquid did here. One, they get the Varian, they have double Warrior, so they have hard engage. You're able to charge in, drop down the taunt, arts fall off the Howling Blast, and they have Medivh if they need to portal into a backline and get on top of that Tychus. Team Liquid is putting a really great strategy together. When you're playing against an Abathur, they want to buy time and last forever.
Yeah.
Team Liquid mitigates that time by saying, okay, we have a Varian now and we have a portal. We are going into your backline.
That draft is incredibly dirty.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's like... The one problem that I have I think I'm missing something. Honestly, I think I'm missing something because I don't quite understand what the Playing Ducks are going for here. I'm going to admit that right out. I look at the draft that they have, and with the Abathur and the Zeratul, I really thought, okay, they're going to try and look for an aggressive early game. They're going to attempt to get like isolation kills, and then they're going to go for a strong copy character and play with the Abathur around here. So at this point, that draft doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. It's decent heroes by themselves, but I don't really see the synergy that we had in the last game, for example. So they have an Uther with this at this point. I'm not quite getting it. And again, I think I'm missing something here.
So you pick Uther, if you do pick Uther nowadays, so just throwing that out there. If you pick Uther, you pick him because you want to stop any type of major burst that comes your way, which Team Liquid does have to a degree. You have the Variant Taunt into possibly a Greymane Curse Bullet here, or even a Mark or Go for the Throat. Uther drops a Divine Shield, but Greymane still chunks out damage afterwards. Granted, the spike falls down slightly, but the auto attacks and Arthas sitting on a target, Uther can't deal with that.
I mean, Divine Storm after a Void Prison?
Maybe you just go for full Wombo combo, and then you have Tyrael Sanctification whenever anyone goes for the counter engage, and hopefully you get a kill and snowball it.
You go Judgment? Like, I don't know. Again, I honestly think I'm missing something here. There must be like a game plan that's probably going to be then evident in the game itself. But right now, just looking at the draft, my first impression looking at the draft is that the Playing Ducks got heavily outdrafted.
Yeah.
So I would expect, if we would go into this as the first game, I would say like, all right, Team Liquid is going to completely roll over them. But looking at the first game, that was such a clean-cut game on the side of the Playing Ducks, was so well thought out. And I'm currently looking at that second draft, and I'm like, I'm a bit skeptical that I'm missing something here, because my first impulse is, this cannot work. But then again, I believe that they have a thought process here that I'm just not aware of.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they pull off, man. Game number 2, we've got an Uther, an Abathur, and a Zeratul. I don't know who you guys are cheering for, but I'm slightly cheering for the Playing Ducks. Let's go ahead and start game number 2 here on Towers of Doom.
I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. We're going to jump into our second game. I want to see how this draft pans out for the Ducks. Starting to the left side once again in blue, and it is Chris on Tychus. We have Nanda on Abathur, Wolf Joe on Uther, Chris Blosian on the Tyrael, and Sport Billy, of course, on the playmaking hero. He's rocking the Zeratul.
Over on the right side, Team Liquid in the red with more of an orthodox comp here. We're going to have Splendor on the Lucio. We're going to have Blumby showing off his Arthas gameplay. Watch for him to follow up the engages from Varian, who will be played by Dark Mach. Dark Mach being on that hero kind of makes me want to see Twin Blades of Fury. Hasselhoff's on Medivh, and last but not least, Nurok on Greymane. I know you're giving me that look, but I see Dark Mach on Twin Blades of Fury. If anyone can make it work, it's Dark Mach.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment farther on this. We had that discussion yesterday.
When we were watching Alex the Pro G play Twin Blades of Fury. Oh, good times, good times.
Alex was streaming yesterday. He played Varian, misclicked on the early talents, and then went into Twin Blades, which made for a very interesting and fun game. He was commentating on that quite too. So yeah, but if you do it, then you're doing it as a second tank, of course, which in this case he actually is. So that's a bit of a different situation. But yeah, coming back to this, so it's going to be interesting to see how exactly the draft for the Playing Ducks pans out, what exactly the strategy behind this is. Right now, it's still pretty what we expected. Sport Billy with the Abathur had, of course, the Zeratul and Abathur combo trying to look for kills on the map. Kind of what you would expect in this draft.
So Team Liquid has a 4-man rotation. They're going to be floating between the middle and the bottom. They're pushing in the lane as much as possible. Again, with Abathur being on the battleground, you're kind of on a clock here to be effective before he gets to his late games. Split pushing tactics that can be quite devastating to deal with. So the 4-man rotation kind of helps countering that, as you can push in the middle and the bottom, break down some turrets, get some experience going, and kind of open up the battleground.
The one thing that I would worry about is especially on the Uther lane, because if Zeratul moves into the Uther lane, that's an extra stun that you can then use. So that's the lane where I would probably just always have at least 2 heroes so that you can help each other out a little bit. If that's the lane where you're kind of trying to solo, and then all of a sudden Uther gets the stun, and then Zeratul comes in with the Abathur hat, then you are in trouble. With everything else, with good positioning, map awareness, and good calls from your team members, you should be able to escape here. Now, the important part is really for Team Liquid right now in the early game to have a strong position, because you cannot lose early on against an Abathur like that.
You're expected to be ahead going into the mid game, especially with the 3 altar spawn here setting up. There is a case for Abathur sneaking and maybe grabbing one of the altars, but with some great tactics in terms of positioning, Team Liquid should be fine in that regard. But yes, walking away the early game is great. Playing Ducks can make a play or two, though. If Zeratul and Sport Billy and them are just kind of on that save wave lead and they get a pick off or two, it could work out. Let's see if it will do so, though, as we go into Towers of Doom once again. Our players are ready to go.
The one thing I also want to point out is that with Medivh and his portal, Abathur needs to be quite careful. He's not necessarily safe when he's behind a gate. So that's something that he always has to keep in mind. A good portal can wreck an Abathur there. So that's something that we have to watch out for. But at this point, we are still very early in the game. So we're still looking at level 1 talents, and we're still having rotations here with the first few altars coming into play right now. But already an attempt to go for one of the camps, and Hazorps giving vision here. Sport Billy and the rest of the team are jumping in. Abathur, of course, is also helping them out here. Blumby is in trouble, stunned, and that's a kill against Arthas. The Ducks are doing it again.
If you're Team Liquid, this is not a Team Liquid fan. This is not what you wanted to see. Chris Blosian goes in. Team Liquid tries to fight over the matter, but Chris Blosian, with the solid play around his ability cooldowns, goes in, provides shields, brings out a smite, and Team Liquid loses 2 members.
Loses 2 members, and alright, so they get their shots in. Varian for a moment was actually thinking about moving over and trying to go for Abathur, but the problem, of course, is that he knows there might be a rotation from the middle, and that was actually the case. Zeratul was on his way, so he plays it safe there. Team Liquid's decision to go back onto the camp is a bit weird. I'm for a moment thinking if they try to buy a little bit of time for Varian up at the top to get the channel through, but that doesn't really make too much sense here. I think that was them overcommitting a bit to it. Early on, it don't really get punished too hard for it. They lost 2 of the altars compared to the one they got, but overall they are still in this. But this is one of those things where you really have to start worrying a little bit. Like they need to make cleaner decisions here.
Yeah, the decision that, although not costing them in terms of altars, as you mentioned, the 2-to-1, it did cost them a level of experience here. Playing Ducks now ahead and will hit 10 before their opponents, which means they get ultimate evolution, which means there could be a massive play around the next altar phase, or even a push into a bell tower. And if you look at the bell tower control for Team Liquid, it's relatively low if Greymane can't get on top of a tower, which means Playing Ducks can take that Abathur and split push a different lane, and it's become a constant thorn in the side of the Team Liquid.
Yeah, also Chris now, of course, with the bigger they are, so he's going to try and chunk down those hit points, especially on Arthas if he gets the opportunity. But the top already, camp moving in as well, and Team Liquid rotating mostly as 4 here, trying to put some pressure on Abathur here, and that's exactly what I had said earlier. You cannot be safe as Abathur if you have has ops on the Medivh against you, a simple portal is gonna wreck you, and that's exactly what they did, so good job by Team Liquid.
Yeah, if out there's currently in a symbiote form, him to actually leave symbiote, there's like a second delay before he can even move, and Team Liquid takes that opportunity. They portal in, grab the lockdown, get a takedown. Team Liquid now tying up the experience 7-7. That play was instrumental for them. Now they just need to make sure not to get picked off here. As Playing Ducks goes in for an engage, they do portal away, and with 2 ultras for the pickings, our teams will fight in the top left and the top right.
Level 7 on both sides now. We are starting to go in full parry build on Varian, of course, once again, and as we are seeing them moving in towards the left, they're trying to push this hard. Aha, so Ops is in trouble and goes down before he can use the portal. Bloomby is also getting blocked out for a moment, still able to go through. They are able to get one of the altars. That's the important part, but Bloomby is still not out of this.
Sport Billy with the big plays there, catching out Medivh, getting him low on health. Avatar went to bottom lane, soaked with his body for a small amount of time. 1-for-1 trade for our 2 teams, and Nande working on getting towards 10 here, soaking where he can.
We cannot fanboy Sport Billy enough here. This is the last game was crazy. This game he also has good plays on Zeratul, and it's still like a short game. So far it had not really much has happened, but the way that he is just putting the pressure on with his Zeratul is pretty fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to this. Hazops, of course, also dying here with the Master's Touch. Once again, they're going for Wolf Joe. This time they are actually invading, trying to steal the camp away. Varian is coming in from the top. And this is what they need to do. As long as Abathur doesn't have the copy available, they need to be a little bit more aggressive, move as 5 and trying to just get that stance. But they are worried about falling behind in experience, which is why Varian is usually split from the rest of the team.
Yeah, this 4-man movement makes it harder for the Playing Ducks to have Zeratul shark around and use that Abathur had to get pickoffs, because they're always just together, and they're playing aggressive together, which makes it much harder for Playing Ducks to get that opportunity. However, Mercenaries now pushing in the bottom, they're going for a fort.
And the reason that you just pointed out is actually a really good one. It's also why they are splitting off Varian and not someone else, because Varian is the toughest to kill on his own right now, thanks to the parry build. So he has a very good chance of getting out of there, even if he all of a sudden gets ganked.
Weird to think that Varian could be a split pusher, but in this composition he kind of works. He's floating between the middle and the top, just trying to hold experience.
I wouldn't quite call him a split pusher.
He's a split pusher. He's full Zagara. We need to give him Nidus Network.
It's more about like him not dying, I think. But yeah, he's like that experienced soaking pull that you have on the lane.
He's gone full sponge mode.
Yeah.
Zeratul is in the middle. We have Abathur in the top. And Playing Ducks is now just focusing on getting 10. They stopped getting aggressive. You see them playing much more careful on the bottom left. And this is good. They know level 10, that heroic power spike, is important for the next altar, which will be spawning in 25 seconds.
I swear to God, Tim, if I have in one of my games a split push variant, it's your fault and you owe me a coffee if
That's my job here, man, to stress you out. I'm going to make you go bold. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, it's working already. I can feel it.
10-9 here. About a quarter level of experience for Team Liquid, and they cannot contest this altar for a few seconds. They know it. They position softly on the side. There is some poke opportunity available for them with both Medivh and Grammy with Cocktail, but with the great positioning here of Chris Explosion, Wolf Joe should be able to get it. He does. Shots going over to the Playing Ducks.
Shots fired in 32-24. A lot of respect to the Ducks here. I really think today we have that this is a different team than the one that played against Dignitas.
It's either that or that's how good Dignitas is, which is scary to think.
Or how...
Leyline.
Oh, there we go. Void Prison in the back. Leyline coming in. They're trying to go again for the camp. Already the portals are being set up. The kill against Medivh. He's down. And that is a dead Lucio on top of it.
Nande on the back right with the Ultimate Evolution, looking for a few more pickdowns with the Divine Storm Judgment. That is the pick here for the Playing Ducks.
I'm really starting to get stressed out a little bit here. I mean, the Ducks are playing fantastic, don't get me wrong. That is... The question, my question is really, is this really a different Playing Ducks, or is Team Liquid having an incredible off day at this point? Because right now the Ducks are just doing so much work. The last map was more than impressive. And now, 7-8 minutes in, we have 5-1 kills for the Playing Ducks. This setup works out perfectly for them. As I said, I doubted them a lot when we're looking at the draft, but they are making this work easy peasy.
Well, let's take a breather here. And the Playing Ducks didn't pick Divine Storm until the last second there, so now that strategy has been exposed. You don't group up as Team Liquid, and you also play a little bit more softer as Medivh, and you just follow up with Leyline Seals, and you should be fine.
But you have to expect that. I mean, this is one of the things when you see him hold back the ult, you need to expect the Divine Storm. And I mean, I talked about this even before we went into the game, that he's most likely going to try and go for the Divine Storm, have that stun, maybe even as a follow-up to the Void Prison. Team Liquid must have had that same thought process. So they need to know that they have to be careful with this. But also, as I pointed out earlier, they actually go for Judgment here.
Judgment, yeah. Allow them to go to engage. It makes sense with Lucio. You can knock on that Gray main. It's also when Varian goes in for the hard engage, you can make your Zeratul dive over the Varian as long as you're able to protect your Tychus. Use Ultimate Evolution and the Judgment and just focus down either Gray main or Lucio. And you can break through that Force of Will.
Like, the one thing that the Ducks have done in both of these games so far is they have picked compositions that are incredibly dive-heavy and are very focused on targeting specific heroes. This times they are running with a lot of, like, stuns, and the way that the Void Prison is being thrown out here is also just to isolate targets once again. So it's very similar to the effect that Leyline Seal had in the last game. He's just trying to make sure that he isolates the healers and then gets a target at the front. Team Liquid is starting to pick up on this a little bit. They are actually starting to establish themselves on the map again. They are working towards a level 13 talent, and they have taken a bell tower down to the bottom of the map. But the Ducks definitely with a very, very aggressive playstyle in both of the games today.
Team Liquid also grabbed the bottom left here, allows them to control the mercenary camp, but also makes Abathur a bit ineffective because they've already lost their tower in the top right corner. Abathur wants to consistently be pushing that while hatting his teammates. So now Abathur is just a hatting simulator. We're going to have an engage though on Splendor. There it is, and Lucio is blown up. The Leyline Seal comes out, but slightly too late.
I don't get it. I don't understand why that move was necessary. They get shots in against the core, by the way, but they lose 2 heroes on the way back. Now another stun against Bloomby. And they took that, Sport Billy. You can't give Sport Billy opportunities like this. He's going to take them. He barely survives there, but they get 3 kills. Now, they were able to deliver 2 shots to the core of the playing Ducks, but they took a fight just now without Greymane, their main damage dealer, who was still at the top. And the question really to me is, why? I mean, seriously, you have already your bell tower about to be lost, right? It has like no hit points left. It's 5 or 10%. So they went into a battle where they knew this wouldn't really be a hold for them in a 4 versus 5. So now there's an entire level lead for the Ducks.
That's a good question, because like, think about it. Even if they had the bell tower, there was no defense set up. There's no damage for them. Even if playing Ducks do engage and they survive through, they're not going to counter-engage.
And your opponent has a setup from which you cannot run away.
Yeah.
There's like a Judgment, hello. There's also like the Void Prison. So Liquid seems to be pressured by this. It feels really like Liquid is experiencing the pressure right now. They are feeling the heat, and that's exactly where the Ducks want them. Playing Ducks want to put so much pressure on them that Team Liquid makes mistakes and they crumble, and that's what's happening right now.
Playing Ducks so hot right now, they could cook a pizza. 6-15 to 14. They're about to hit 16, 3 altars up, and the Playing Ducks are setting aggressively on the right side. Abathur grabs the altar on the left. Sport Billy sharking in. Nande's gonna pop the ultimate evolution.
And another thing is that Hazops has still problems with the Master Touch.
The
Chris, on the other hand, whoa!
He got hella baited there. There was a portal over the wall. The Judgment charges into the fort. Massive Void Prison though. Chris on the left with the damage, and he is a full health Tychus.
Bloomby immediately gets a shield here. Well done, Nanda. Nanda in trouble losing the copy. That's a big plus already. There's the stun, but Wolfjaw might fall still. Once again, Sport Billy with an attempt to make a play here. Didn't really work out for him. Greymane, everybody's so low, but Billy is on the run, and this time Hazu is locking him down with the help of Arthurs. It's a triple, and we have another one of those altars going over to Team Liquid.
And it's interesting. Let's watch this replay really quickly here. The Judgment just happened. Crystplosion got pulled over the wall by the portal. Solid heads-up play there by Hostile Whips and crew. Now, the Void Prison comes out to maybe save the day, but with all the members up of Team Liquid, they go for the counterplay. Varian charges in, gets on top of Chris, which forces him to retreat. And with Arthas on the backside, they're able to kill the Ultimate Evolution and look for Wolf Joe.
That was really well done. There, again, the attempt to just go out there, Wolfjaw with a stun, and of course Billy the entire time dancing around this setup, trying to look for an opportunity to maybe get a counter kill. But that was well done by Liquid. And this is one of the fights, this is what we're expecting from them. Them having that coordination in team fights that they're so well known for. Now we have 16 versus 16 in Talons, and we have both of the teams here with nearly even points on the core. That was a good fight for Team Liquid, but the Ducks, I mean, this all started by just the bait, as you said. on the judgment. If that didn't happen, that fight could have completely gone the other way.
And we go from a game that feels like it's being dominated by the Playing Ducks to a very close game in terms of experience and also shots on the course. Team Liquid is on the bottom right, and with Chris popping his Odin, they're moving in on the engage. We're going to have Judgment, Tychus being focused down here. He still has his heroic. He's hoping to get away. He will drop the smite at the last second in the help of Wolf Joe, but the altar, the bell tower, has not fallen.
At this point, I mean, just look at this once again. They are forcing Tyrael back. Now they have an opportunity to go in. There comes the stun, though. Chris is just barely getting out of this in the backline. Once again, we're seeing the Void Prison. The leyline seal goes down. Hasops is trying to annihilate Zeratul, and he gets the kill with the rest of them. None on the copy also falling. Wolfjaw also dying here. Team Liquid. This is them starting to get a bit angry. They're finding their stride.
Playing Ducks with 2 members down are going to be forced to give up these 2 altars. Abathur with a few mines floating around to slow it down, but 5 shots being available for Team Liquid, which will drop down the score to 5 for the Playing Ducks. Team Liquid now starting to channel up, and Greymane in the top lane. Nothing can really happen on the map until the Playing Ducks have all 5 members.
This is a super interesting dynamic that we have in the game, because what we saw the entire time was the Ducks absolutely dominate the early game. They played an impressive match, and they did so also on map number 1. And you could really tell that Team Liquid, they started to make mistakes, we've been talking about it, that they usually don't make because they were really feeling the pressure. And that's what the Ducks were trying to do here. Put much pressure on them, make them make these mistakes, and then especially Sportbilly can capitalize on it. And that one fight that we talked about, that kind of started to turn it around. All of a sudden you see that confidence again for Team Liquid. And it showed when they were going in on that fight down here at the bottom. They dove very deep for these kills, they protected the bell tower, and now they have the Ducks on 5 points on the core. This is a really important game here for Team Liquid right now, and so far they're starting to find their stride, but this is a kill. Oh my god, what?
Awesome Wops, you're so good! Sound Barrier's been popped, Nurox on the left side too. We're gonna have Splinter topping off the health pole. That leyline seal over the wall, saving Lucy. Oh, but Nande says, no, you were meant to die earlier.
Oh my god, like, I think first of all, Splendor has to build an altar for Hazops for that save, and then we still have Nande going in and getting the kill there. And the Void Prison!
Tychus?
The setup, the Ducks are moving in
Chris?
again! The
Divine
stun!
Storm! Is it gonna come out? Oh no, it doesn't quite connect the sun at the last second, but Hasu still falls. Medivh taken out, Blumby on the right, being burned down, Darkmok praying to live, but the Playing Ducks answer right back.
Wow, that was crazy. An entire team wipe, and what a setup. Nande with that kill against Lucy really making it happen there. And then, of course, as we see Team Liquid disengage the Ducks with the chase, we said it before and we say it again, you cannot run away from this lineup. It doesn't work. You have to make your stand. And by the way, Master's Touch, you remember that talent?
Yeah.
Yup.
Nope.
Never completed.
Team Liquid playing this game on hard mode. No Master's Touch here for Haswab. He's been on top with leyline seals. Sadly for him. Here, let's watch the replay here. The big engage on the right, the leyline seal over the wall. This is the moment you and I lost our pants because that was so freaking exciting. And then, if you look down here in the bottom left, you see Nande sharking around on the right side, looking for Splendor. He jumps on in, he'll get the kill, and it doesn't stop there, Caldor.
That kill was the most important one. If Lucio doesn't die there, they are in trouble. But now it's a 5 versus 4, and that's the moment where the Ducks are starting to move in. And once that they're starting to disengage, Sportbilly, he's waiting for it. He knows what's going to happen. He waits for it, and he says, like, no, boys, we gotcha. There's the Void Prison, and boom, they are getting obliterated.
Best point about that Void Prison is the portal went down, so Darkmonk had to take it to go help out his team fights. And he comes out and he stops with Joe, which would have been a quicker kill for the team overall, but it winds up staggering the deaths for Team Liquid. Now, 11-5, we have multiple altars taken for the Playing Ducks, and they have their eyes on just ending the game.
Yeah, and it's currently 5 points on the core of the Playing Ducks and 11 for Team Liquid. But if you look at the bell towers, it's 6 bell towers to 2, meaning there's only one single bell tower that is actually active. The core, of course, counts as one as well. And Liquid is looking for experience. They're saying, boys, we need 20. We need 20, we need it soon, and then we need a team fight. This comes down to a team fight in the end, or at least it should. Abathur, of course, can burrow. Keep in mind, he can burrow to one of the altars. That could be game-changing in this position.
Playing Ducks posturing. 20, very close for Team Liquid. They want it. Not quite getting it. Here's a minion wave that will get them closer. Abathur, meanwhile, has moved to the middle lane to keep up the pressure. 20 now here, and the Playing Ducks retreat away. not risking anything in this intense game.
All right, one bell tower has been taken now. This is now the 20. We have the extra AoE for the attacks on Greymane. We're also, of course, now seeing just like all of those final Storm talents coming in. We have Medivh with, again, the Leyline Seal upgrade, Legion of Northrend for the extra sustain on Arthur's Wizard Ult, and he is going to need that. Glory to the Alliance, the banner taken for Varian. This is a lot about survivability, actually, for this team at this point, and I mean, you can see why.
And playing Ducks hurry up and sneak the middle fort so they can have a winning condition if they get one altar. Team Liquid is forced to grab both of them. With an Abathur on the map, this becomes incredibly difficult.
They go in.
Blumby pops his heroic, Divine Storm out, Nurox on the right, Splendor being dived upon, the Force of Will at the last second, Sound Barrier being popped, massive Leyline Seal.
Oh, Chris is about to fall and he goes down. Darkbog on the other hand, he might die as well, but no Hazovs is there protecting him. Wolfjo on the run, so is Nanda losing the copy any second here. Uther
They're doing
dead.
it.
The double kill, Team Liquid, they're moving in. They want to end this game. Pierce is also dying and both of the altars are still on the map.
Team Liquid more like Team Solid in the moment, the last second where they need to win a team fight. They win it massively. Both altars are available, and this will give them 6 points if they grab them both. They're focusing down Sport Billy. He does get killed off. The game is not over. Greymane on the right side.
The game is over.
Is it over? Oh, we have the boss. You're right.
They have the boss and everybody's dead.
That's it. You're right. Oh, GG here from Team Liquid. Wow, dude.
Shots fired, and this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands.
That is going to be it. Team Liquid tying it up 1-1 in the best-of-5 series. Incredible back and forth. Great early game from the Playing Ducks. Some solid mid-game from both Team Liquid and the Playing Ducks. And then when it matters the most, Team Liquid comes in and they deliver.
Holy shit, I mean, that series, dude, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was incredible.
The fights that we had there. And again, that was you know, you look at that combo and basically the mission was kill Lucio. That was what they did most of the time. If you see Tyrael, he charges into the backline, they try to kill Lucio, and when Team Liquid started to pick up on that, they were slowly and steadily able to just save him. In the last fight, for example, we saw it happen. Tyrael charging into the backline, Uther walking in, getting the stuns, everybody trying to collapse there. Zeratul jumping in, both Zeratools just trying to snipe Lucio, and Hazorbs being there with a shield, with a portal. Lucio goes in, is making sure that he hits his ult. Sound Barrier comes in. All of a sudden, they win that fight. But unbelievable performance by the Playing Ducks. I am so impressed by their performance today. It's fantastic what we see here.
The Zeratul play in the bottom on the portal was probably the highlight of the entire match, and that team didn't even win. That's what's so exciting about these two teams matching up and the different drafts that are going on. Europe, dude, they just put on a show week after week.
It was great. And of course, we have like one of the key moments in the game, again, prepared for you, so we're going to jump in really quickly. That was the massive bait here. Just watch out for Tyrael. We're going to slow that down in a moment because that was absolutely insane. So at this point, we're just seeing Chris here. Already the lockdown in the backline by Arthurs and now Hazorbs. Hazorbs and Chris. That was really the story here. So Hazorbs at this point just walks through. There comes the bait over the wall. It's just like, wow, someone's in trouble. So yeah, he gets annihilated, gets immediately being attacked, and from that point on, they just take it back through the portal. Leyline Seal is not really hitting anything here, but there comes the Void Prison, but at this point, Hazorbs is just waiting to drop once again. A quick barrier there. Sound Barrier comes in too. Incredibly well played, and it was really just this bait over the wall. And of course, that was the moment that brought Team Liquid back. At that point, they were behind by quite a bit.
And that fight comes down to milliseconds. Has Hasselhoffs actually get locked down by the Judgment, there's a chance that we could have had a kill, and suddenly no Medivh being available, and all the altars go over to the Playing Ducks, and they take a massive lead. Literally milliseconds allow Team Liquid to turn around that entire fight.
The thing is, like, we have no idea how this game or this match is going to end now, but this was one of the crucial moments, because if Team Liquid loses here, or if they lose that fight, chances is they lose on Towers of Doom. They had there were other moments where they might have lost the game. But if they all of a sudden go down 0-2 against the Ducks, then we might be in for the first loss of Team Liquid. That might still happen, of course. I mean, the match isn't over yet. But that was a very important moment for Team Liquid, because you could tell that the pressure really got to them at points. So right now, they probably lean back for a few moments and like, okay, boys, first game was a disaster. Let's just stop thinking about that. Second game was a close one, but we got this. We're getting slowly into our rhythm. We're getting there. So let's just do what we do normally and make sure that the next game is going our way.
Well, let's keep this boat afloat. We'll be right back with game number 3 after this commercial.
more scrapes and adventures than I can count. That being said, I've never seen anything like this.
Hail, hero!
Is that a frog in a bubble? Oh gosh, they are so cute. Well then, there's so many friendly people here. Coming through. Love the hair.
Oh, the cavalry's here!